Welcome back to the Sip and Swish podcast. Here with Nick Reed and Lucas McLean. I'm Jason Stoltz. So we wanted to take a quick second to thank all of our fans, friends, and family out there. You guys really helped blow up our last episode. By far our most successful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was awesome.
This week, we have an amazing pod lined up, including our first interview. But for now, let's jump into the first quarter. It's going to be a little different format this week because there weren't really NBA games last week, at least not since our last pod. So this first quarter is going to be looking ahead at the last third of the NBA season, and we're all going to kind of take a stab at how all the standings are going to finish up. So let's start in the Eastern Conference. We're going to start with the top seed right now and work our way down, and we'll assess where we think these teams are going to end up going into the playoffs. So, top seed in the East, Raptors. Nick, where do you see the Raptors ending at the end of this regular season?
Number 1, baby. They ain't going nowhere. 10 home games, only 3 back-to-backs, and the best part, they never leave the Eastern time zone. Their 3 flights are to Florida.
That's not bad at all.
That's it.
That's super easy.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I don't see the Raptors dropping below 1. I don't think they should. Their schedule isn't that bad.
They only play the Cavs twice, Rockets once, Thunder once. Nothing hard games.
And their starting lineup just gets rest because their bench is so good that they haven't played a majority of fourth quarters. So it's like it's the perfect schedule, the perfect end of the season for the Raptors to finally be like, we're the number 1. It feels like a 3 years coming scenario. Like it feels like the Raptors have been gunning for that spot for a while now. Now they're just finally like, we deserve it.
I think this is probably going to be one of our only unanimous picks. I also have the Raptors finishing first in the East. I just don't see – I mean, the Celtics are falling away. I don't see them finishing particularly strong. And I think the Cavs are just too far back at this point. The Raptors have a pretty easy end of the year, as Nick highlighted. I like them maintaining that number 1 seed.
Right.
And they got that nice cushion of 2 games already over the Celtics, who are in their mid-struggle.
They are really struggling. I think that leads us to the 2nd seed, which I think we have a little debate on.
Yeah, so currently Celtics, 2nd seed in the East.
Right. They're cruising. They're doing okay, but they hit a wall, and I think it's because their 2 biggest role players, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, have hit their walls. Like Jaylen Brown hit his wall last year. Tatum's hit it really hard right now. And if like those 2 guys can't kick it back up, they're kind of screwed because there's no replacement player that can step up on that team. They're so short-lined.
They are short-lined. They really need this post-All-Star push to start off really strong. They have as many back-to-backs as the Raptors do, though, only 3. But, 8 home games. They do play the Raptors twice, so that could just be 2 straight losses for them. But they have a nice little cushion on the number 3 seed Cavs, which I know Lucas doesn't have the Cavs at the 3 seed. He decided that they're going to be number 2.
So Nick and Jason have the Celtics at 2.
Correct, yeah.
And I have the Cavaliers at 2.
I will say this was one of the hardest seeds for me to really make my decision on. I went back and forth on this because I believe the Cavs are definitely the superior team at this point.
Right.
I just think that them being 4.5 games back, I think it's too much. They're not that much better than the Celtics.
That is really hard. That's a hard hump to go over. And even if the Celtics go just 500 for the rest, and then maybe sneak out a few wins, if they even play mediocre, the Cavs can play great, and they still can't overcome that. Mid-game.
To make up 4.5 games with only 25, 26 games left is really hard.
It's asking a ton of wins from your team, and you need a lot of help from the other team.
For sure.
All right, so 3rd seed currently, Cavaliers. I see them finishing in 3rd.
Same.
I have the Celtics. Yeah, it kind of just leads back to the whole thing where, like, I don't see the Celtics as having, like, a rotation, especially, like, their big man rotation. It's Horford. Their backup center is Aaron Baines. And then, actually, this guy named Daniel Thesis has been getting more minutes than Aaron Baines right now. Like, both those guys are just fringe rotation players. So, what happens if something happens to Horford? Like, he gets a bum finger. They're, like, really vulnerable down in the paint. Like,
it's a solid point. Yeah,
I don't. And then Marcus Morris, who's really a 3 that they stretch down to 4, and he's small and he's not a good defender. It's like their only post defense is Horford, and the rest of that rotation is really bad and can be exposed by a lot of teams. So I don't have much faith in the Celtics. And even if they get the second seed, like, I just feel like they get bumped in the first round. Like, I don't have much faith for them going forward the rest of the season.
I hear you there. I think the first 3 seeds in the East will be Raptors, Celtics, Cavs, maybe with Celtics and Cavs flip-flopped, but that's solidified. That is what it is. Those are your top 3 seeds in the East, and I think only 2 of them can actually make it out. And the Celtics are not one of those 2.
Yeah.
No, not without Gordon Hayward. I mean, Cavs play Suns and the Lakers twice. That could be. I mean, the Lakers a little harder fight, but the Suns not so much. That could be easy
Lucas's
games.
Suns.
Lucas's Suns.
Use their full name, please.
Lucas's Phoenix Super Suns.
Currently in the 4th seed, the Washington Wizards, oft bemoaned on this podcast.
Right.
That is not how I see it. That is not how I see it ending. And call me a homer.
You're a homer.
You know what? We'll see. We'll see at the end of the year. The Sixers will be the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. I believe it for several reasons. One, Bellinelli. I think that really addressed an issue. I think signing him really addressed a significant issue for the Sixers. Beyond that, and arguably more important, the 76ers have the easiest strength of schedule in the entire NBA.
Yep.
They have 2 games against the Hawks, 2 games against the Magic, also known as the future Seattle Super Magic.
To top it off, they have 4 games against the Charlotte Hornets. That's an entire series that they could probably sweep.
I'm a little skeptical. I really am about the Sixers being this high. I have Wizards staying here at 4 at the end of the season, but I just think they're too young. And the end of the season, if the Sixers are like solid, like 8th or 7th seed, 6th seed, I think they're going to start resting Embiid. I mean, they've already rested him before, and without Embiid, they're 8-3. There's 5 more.
8, correct?
Yeah, 3-8. There's 3-8 without
I was
Embiid.
say, that's good.
And they're still resting Embiid sporadically. And on back-to-backs, he's still playing limited minutes. But he is playing, but he's playing limited minutes.
Good thing you brought up back-to-backs. This is
They're playing 5, right?
They're playing 5 back-to-backs to end the season. So
It's 5 potential games Embiid might not play.
But
He just got a nice rest over this All-Star break. They didn't play him hard in the All-Star game at all. I mean, he was there, sure, but he just got a nice break.
I still think the front office is going to play super cautious. I think they want to make the playoffs, and they will. But I think they're going to play the super safe route of making the playoffs right now.
So we focused on my Sixers because that was kind of the surprise pick with me saying that they were going to get up to 4. Where do you guys see the Wizards finishing this year?
I have them at 4, and I think that's their peak. I just think this team is full of veterans, and I just don't see them dropping really far. I could definitely see them drop to 5, but it's just the rest of their schedule is actually really hard.
Second hardest in the NBA.
Second hardest. They just have a really big chip on their shoulder right now, and I think this All-Star break, like Beal, Wall, Gortat, Porter, they all needed to come together. And I assume they must have at one point just been like, okay, can we just grind out these last 20 games, keep the 4th seed because, we have kind of a cushion. We are more skilled collectively than the teams below us. I just think like they can hit this 4th seed. I think that'd be good for them. I can see them dropping 1, but I don't see them like dropping to like 7 or 8 or something like that.
I have them at 6 with Jason, where I just think they might hit this wall in a couple weeks where,
Pun intended.
yeah,
Hit the wall.
hit the wall. Without Wall. He's going back to college. He's leaving the NBA.
Who'd you have at the 4th seed?
The Indiana Pacers, which the 4th seed was my hardest pick because I think all these teams are either going to drop a couple games, pick a couple games up. I mean, the Pacers play the Hawks 3 times. They only have 1 back-to-back. They have 7 home games. Their schedule is not too bad. They could pick up a game or 2 on the Wizards. They're only the 5 seed. They're not too far off. I like it.
That makes sense.
So
yeah, Pacers currently 5th seed. I have them finishing 7.
oh,
I think the beginning of this year has been a little bit of fool's gold for them. And I just think that I just think that there are 6 better teams in the East
Right.
than the Pacers. And for me, it was that simple.
but hola, Oladipo.
I think
It's a
he's
catchy
probably
name.
playing out of his mind right now, though. We haven't ever seen Oladipo do this. This is his breakout year, but I don't know how long that can really last. I had the Pacers drop down to 6.
That's fair. I thought, like I said, for me, 4 through 7, just a toss-up. Any
So
team.
hard.
Honestly, they might look and say, I'd rather play the Celtics than play the Cavs, or I'd rather play the Wizards. We're going to shoot for the 5 seed. We're not going to try to drop down too low.
Right, yeah, 4 through 7. You're really – a lot of it's going to be matchups. Like, I don't know if it's going to be better to finish at the, 5 seed than it is going to be to finish at the 7 seed, depending on where everyone's stacked up. Currently, Bucks, Nick's favorite players team. You want to say his name? I know you want to say his name.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Just feels so right. Currently sitting at the 6th seed. Lucas, where do you see them?
I had the Bucks go up 1. I had them at the 5th seed. I think that's just Bucks and Pacers just swapping, I guess, like semantics. But I just think the Bucks are probably a better collective team. They have a superstar. Pacers don't. Bledsoe is better than Darren Collison. They still didn't get any big men, so that's a huge problem. But they got Tyler Zeller, but he's not really a traditional pounding big guy. He's just a body. But yeah, I think the Bucks will probably.
They got Jabari Parker
move up
back.
a little bit. Yeah, that was another thing. They're healthy now. They have Jabari.
That's huge.
They're what? They're like 5-2. Yeah, they're 5-2 with Jabari.
If he can stay on the court, which I think he will.
I think he can. They're only playing him like 15 minutes, so just play him in 15-minute spurts.
Yeah.
Giannis is starting to say that his knees are hurting. He's working. He thinks he's playing too much. So I could see them resting Giannis a couple of games here and there.
But I feel like Bledsoe and Jabari and Chris Middleton could carry more load than they're asked of right now.
But they still have to play the Cavs, a game against the Warriors, a game against the Rockets, a game against the Spurs.
Again, they could just sit at the 6th seed too. I could see that as well. I think they're just better than Indiana.
I see them at 5 as well.
I dropped them 1. Dropped them down to the 7th.
Dropped your boys.
Like I said, I think they might lose a couple games here and there. They're doing much better, but they have quite a few hard teams to play where I don't think they're going to beat the Rockets. I don't think they're going to beat the Warriors.
Yeah, it is that time of year where honestly looking at the schedule, it's relevant.
Yeah.
Who cares day one, like what the strength of schedule looks like, blah, blah, blah. But for this last third, it really matters in the standings. It matters who you're playing. It matters your, travel schedule, your back-to-backs, all that type of stuff.
Right.
And that's why you're listening to the Sip and Swish.
AK. So, the Bucks lose 1 game. 76ers already down to they're down to 7. 76ers are up to 6. It's so close that these 3 games
Right, in the current standings.
these 3 games against really high teams that want wins.
Yeah, I don't have the Sixers moving from 7. I think they stay there. I think they'll solidify at some point in the future, like a playoff spot.
I'll always remember this moment as the moment that Lucas was dead to me.
Hey, you guys make the playoffs.
So
they have an easy schedule, but they're going to rest Embiid. They may even rest Simmons. I don't think they will because I think they're just going to be like, okay, we want another rookie of the year sort of deal. But they'll be like the 3rd rookie of the year in like 4 years. They had Michael Carter, Dario Saric.
I kind of
And
forgot
then
about
Embiid.
MCW.
Yeah, well, his one game was the Rookie of the Year game. He started off, they beat the Heat, and then after that, it was
quad double almost. But yeah, I don't see them moving much.
Where do you have the Sixers, Nick?
I have them at 5.
Okay.
I moved them up. I thought, looking at those couple teams, the Wizards they're going to fall off. They're just bad. They may be on a win streak. They're still just bad.
Sitting at the current number 8 seed, Miami Heat.
Who here actually has the Miami Heat in their 8th seed in the playoffs?
I don't. I don't see this team there. I mean, they're just living off of Spoelstra being a good coach at this point because the rest of their team is really just slightly above average role players. You don't have like a true star. Their only real guy is like Dragic that can get them buckets, and he's only getting like 16 a night.
Yeah, if he's your best player, and it's not a knock on him because he is a good player, but if he's your best player,
think about if Dragic was on like Indiana with like Oladipo, that would be a fun team to watch. Or if he was on like, if somehow Dragic was on Cleveland with LeBron, that would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But he's on Miami and he's by himself and he's being overcoached or whatever. And so I see them getting bumped in Detroit going in.
I think we all had Detroit getting in.
That was our second consensus for the Eastern Conference standings. Yep, we all have Detroit moving into that 8th seed. I agree. I don't think it was like I didn't want to say a slam dunk, but whatever. I don't think it's like a slam dunk for them to do it. But you have Drummond. You have the dude that jumps over Kias.
Yeah.
And I think that's enough to put you over
Miami. Yeah, I think it's pretty easy.
Should we look at the West?
Let's do it. Let's do the West.
All right. Currently sitting as the number 1 seed, the Beard, CP3, the Rockets. Lucas, where do you see the Rockets finishing up this year?
I think they're going to keep the 1 seed. I really do. I know it's like I know you both are shaking your heads at me, but it's like the Rockets aren't going to rest Harden. I just don't see it. They might rest CP3 a few games, but they're not going to rest Harden. He's going to get that number 1 seed no matter what. And during the last interview I heard, I can't remember where, with Daryl Morey, the Rockets want that number 1 seed. Like, they pushed this whole season to prove that the Warriors aren't as good as advertised. Like, look, we just got, we have 2 superstars, and we're going to beat your 4. And we're going to do it by just outgunning you. Like, it may not work, but we're going to play your game, and we're going to play your game better. And that's what they want. They want that number 1 seed. But I think the biggest thing for the Warriors is there are too many trap games for them. I know it's like a big football thing, is like trap games, but there are so many for Golden State. They play OKC twice. They play the Spurs twice. They play the Bucks, Wizards, Jazz twice. They play the Lakers, who they lose to, I don't know, all the time, it feels like. And then they play the Pacers twice. You're gonna have like what? Durant's gonna sit 3 times. Curry's gonna sit 3 times. You're gonna have Draymond, who has been sitting.
But so the Rockets have to play 5 back-to-backs.
Right. They have a hard schedule, but it's like you're not gonna see the Warriors play at full strength for the rest of the season.
I mean, it's going to the end. If the Warriors want the 1 seed, they can get the 1 seed. They still play the Suns, Kings, Hawks.
Those Suns 3 times.
3 times.
But even the Suns,
the Super Suns,
they'll probably rest like Durant, Curry, and maybe even Draymond. They're going to rest a lot of players, and they're going to go into that game just as if they win.
I don't know, Lucas. I don't know if they're as ambivalent about the 1 seed as you're making them out to be.
I just don't see it. I just don't see a scenario in which the Warriors don't rest a lot.
I think they've been resting the whole year to the point that they can make this post All-Star game. And I think the Rockets, they may love this 1 seed, but is it worth risking Harden in the playoffs yet again?
Right, to totally burn him out.
Like you're saying, the Warriors have 4 All-Stars. The Rockets only have 2. Why burn out one of your 2 All-Stars?
Well, I think that was their goal at the beginning of the year. Their goal was always 1 seed.
Agreed,
and now this is the time to get that goal. That you don't just give up on it at the last second.
I'm not saying give up, but
this is what they want.
The 1 seed in the Western Conference was the second hardest, or maybe hardest, decision I had to make because I know the Rockets are hungrier. To be honest, I really believe that, and I think they're going to gun for it harder than the Warriors. I just think that the Warriors have the 3rd easiest strength of schedule going into this finish. The Rockets have the 12th hardest. I don't know. I just don't. I think the Warriors get it done. Let's jump down to the current third seed because I think we just kind of hit Rockets and Warriors together a little bit. Spurs sitting at the current third in the West. Nick, where do you see the Spurs finishing out?
I have them sliding pretty hard down to the 5th seed because I think Timberwolves are better.
Break out your slip and slide, Spurs.
I think Timberwolves are better and the Thunder are better. And this Spurs squad, they have to play the Rockets, they have to play the Warriors, they have to play the Wizards, and they have to play the Thunder 2 times. That's a lot of teams. Like you said, the Rockets want to win, Warriors are going to want to win, Wizards really want to win, so do the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the Spurs aren't that good right now. They don't have Kawhi. They're in this kind of abyss that...
And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that's still totally up in the air, right?
No, it has not been reported
timetable
on ever since that whole rumor where Kawhi wanted out. The Spurs haven't said a single thing about his injury.
So he could just not come back at all, and
he could not. I don't know. I think I have the Spurs falling too. I have them falling to 4.
Yeah, Lucas and I both did.
I think they're going to just land on 4 because of consistency. I think they're a team that can really just grind out and win regular season games. I don't think they're going to find any success at all in the playoffs. Like, they could even get swept. Like, if they land 4, I don't think they maybe not get swept. But
and their remaining schedule is brutal.
Yeah, it's the hardest. So they're going to lose. They could drop to 5. But, like, OKC is, like, the most streakiest team, so I don't see, like, OKC bumping.
My 2 teams, OKC and the Sixers, all they do is go on, like, 6-game win streaks and then lose 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
So the highs and lows of this world. Thunder, currently 5th seed. I have them not moving. I have them staying as the 5th seed. To be honest, I don't think they're that great. Oh, I jumped the gun. Thunder, just know I don't think you're that great, but we'll get back to that. Currently sitting at the 4 seed. Yours, mine, all of our Timber Puppies.
The Timber Puppies.
My favorite. Cat with a C.
Wow, and unanimous. All 3 of us have the Wolves finishing as the 3rd seed.
They play quite a few good teams, but it's over a spread out period. They do have quite a few back-to-backs, 4 of them. But like I said, they're not playing Rockets, Thunder, or something back-to-back. It's like a Rockets team, and then I forget what it was, like Kings or the Suns, someone really bad.
Lucas the Suns.
I think the Wolves and the Raptors might be like the most underrated teams. Like, no one talks about them at all, and when they do, it's because Jimmy Butler does something silly. Right. It's not because
He's
of actual
Taylor
output.
Swift in the locker room.
And that's like a trending topic. It's not like, okay, Jimmy Butler just dropped 36 and they won by 30 or something like that. Because they're really good, and their whole team is good from like – they're like 9 deep. Like
that's what I was going to say is that I had the Timberwolves at that 3 spot, not for a ton of reasons outside of like not really looking at the schedule for them or anything like that. I just think they're that good. I think they are the 3rd seed this year.
I think so too, and I can't wait for the actual playoffs when casual NBA fans go, Minnesota in the playoffs? They've been awful forever. What do you mean they're the 3rd seed?
Right.
And then they whoop whoever is going to be the 6th seed.
I don't even think you have to go from like a big analytics standpoint or anything like that. You just have to look Timberwolves, look at their roster, and then look at the team below them. Spurs? No, that roster is better than the Spurs. That roster is better than OKC, better than Portland. It's just like basic. This team is significantly better than everyone below them, and it's almost like Spurs through 8 is a totally different tier of team below the Wolves, and the Wolves aren't on the same tier as like Rockets or Warriors, but
no.
Yeah, they kind of stand alone.
They do. I think they're like that mid-tier team in the playoffs.
Now can we discuss the lesser tier?
Yes.
Beginning with my Thunder. Currently 5th seed. Like I said, I don't have them changing. I just don't really believe in them that much. I think they're an above-average team, and that's kind of all they are.
Yeah, I think all their magic will come. All their great play will happen when the playoffs come. I think that's usually when superstars shine because those guys will play like 40 minutes a night.
Yeah, I give them a fighting chance in the playoffs.
Because if their first series is against the Spurs, they make it to the second round. I'd pick OKC over Spurs.
I would too.
Then the next round would be fun and crazy, and they'd probably lose, but it'd be worth it. But they're so streaky because they beat the Warriors by 20. Durant was mad, Curry was mad. Westbrook was talking crap the whole game, and then 2 days later, the Thunder lose by 25 to the Lakers. It doesn't make sense. They're too streaky.
So what you're saying is the Lakers are the best team in the NBA.
That's what I heard.
That's pretty much what I just heard. I mean, Westbrook and Carmelo wasn't playing, but it's okay.
Still, though, a playoff team should not lose by 25 ever. So, I don't know what context. If you're a real playoff team, your bench should be able to it shouldn't lose by 25.
What do you call a team that loses by 48 multiple times in a year?
Lucas' Phoenix Suns. Yes.
100 points. So, now what do we got next? We got the Nuggets at 6.
They're an intriguing team.
6 through 8 was so hard for me. This was actually incredibly difficult.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're all so close.
Oh, that blueberry is so blueberry.
Lucas just cracked a blueberry ale or something.
Oh, yeah, I did. It's so potent.
They're half a game apart. What do you mean? That's one good week is separating you from becoming a 6th seed.
So who's the 6th seed right now?
The Nuggets.
The Nuggets. Okay.
I have them falling down 1 to the 7th seed.
I have them staying at the 6, and honestly, I really wanted to put them ahead of the Thunder, to tell you the truth. And I will not be surprised one bit if they finish ahead of the Thunder.
I mean, I could see it.
They're a more complete team.
They've felt so deep for the past 4 years. You look at the Nuggets, holy crap, they have 12 really good role players, but they can't ever pull it together. And the last time they did, they have who did they have? They had he coached the Kings at one point, and then they fired him. George Karl. That team was fun to watch. This team's fun too, but I think the big thing was I listened to Richard Jefferson's interview with Bill Simmons.
I think we all did, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was really fun, and he's such a great guy. But what stood true in that interview was he was the Nuggets don't have that killer guy. Jokic is a great guy. He's going to set the screen. He's going to make the right pass, but he's not the guy that can put a team on his back. And if the only guy that can put the team on his back is Jamal Murray, who's 20 and who's incredibly streaky, and he's not
Trillsap's coming back.
He's a top 18 shooting guard in the league or whatever. He's not elite at anything.
They don't have anyone to take over the game.
Yeah,
and the Nuggets,
need that guy.
The Nuggets never have. With George Karl, they were the king of the first round knockout.
Well, they had Melo.
They had Melo, and he got him 1 year out of the first round.
Yeah, I had the Nuggets dropping to 8 just because I think of inexperience. I think they're going to get in the playoffs, but they still don't have that guy that's going to be all right, let's get this. We're going to kill them this game. They're just chilling in the locker room yeah, all right.
He couldn't drop him to 7 because his hot take from last week would be null and void.
Sure. I know. I like that this pod has enough history now where I have to actually think about, okay, what have I said in the past? I don't really want to go against it.
Oh, that's why I don't have. So I have the Nuggets on 7.
Were you about to say that's why you don't have hot takes?
No, that's why I don't. Yeah, I never do.
I don't make any mistakes.
I don't say anything, so nothing is ever wrong.
That's smart.
Bold strategy.
Just science.
Okay, so number 7, we have the Portland Trailblazers. I actually had the Trailblazers at the 6th seed. I believe, Lucas, you do too?
Yeah, I bumped them up to 6. Just thinking of
Go ahead, please.
Oh, sorry. Just superstars like C.J. McCollum and Lillard. The other two teams don't have superstars. And I just think superstar power is real. And at the end of the season...
You're using superstar a little too much for this team. Stars.
Lillard's a superstar.
Step below.
You don't think he's
I think he's a star.
Top 15?
I'm trying to go through my head right now.
I don't think C.J. McCollum is top 25. Maybe he's top 30.
Borderline superstar.
Yeah, he's right on that, right on the line. I don't know. I think it's a matter of perspective as to whether or not Dame is a superstar.
I think
he just got to his All-Star.
He also hasn't won a lot.
He was at an All-Star before that.
Was he though?
Yes, this is his second All-Star.
He never made it. Yeah, so I think you had him pretty low.
I dropped them all the way to the 8th seed.
Jeez.
Ooh.
For me, that spoke less about them and more to the other teams. I don't think the Blazers are a bad team. I don't think they're a great team. I think they're decent. I just think that the Thunder, the Nuggets, and we'll discuss, the Jazz shortly as well. I just think that they're better teams.
I can see that.
Plus, you have the 2 mile-high cities, even though Utah's not known as that. I'm sure it's mile-high, roughly, give or take, half a mile.
The home court advantage is real for both of those. I mean, Trailblazers got 12 home games. They have quite a few back-to-backs. And they play Thunder twice, the Cavs, Rockets, and the Celtics. I'm looking at them, and I don't see them as hard games right now. And that's really sad. Because at the beginning of the year, I was like, oh, well, the Trailblazers lost this game. And now that could be a free win.
Yeah, there's a lot of regret at the beginning of the season, but I think there was a lot of angry Lillard of why is my team not as good as me right now? Why did all these young guys that got paid more than me not performing?
Well, so we're going to talk about the Pelicans, and Anthony Davis was talking with some vets about their regrets of staying with their franchise for so long. And it kind of plays into the Lillard. Should he stay longer than he has to, or should he go get himself a championship?
I mean, he's always said that he wants to be Mr.
Everyone says that at some
Mr.
point.
Portland. But
Giannis is the future great of the Lakers. I mean,
that is not accurate.
He's magic. I don't know. I think I would love Lillard in New York.
I think he fits the culture of Portland as a city. Though. I don't know. There's just something that works for me. I would be sad, and I'm not a Blazers fan, and I'm not really a Dame fan.
Right.
Not that I'm a hater either, but there's a part of me that would definitely be sad to see him in a different jersey.
It would be.
No, I agree.
But I'm also old school. I just like seeing players stay with the teams.
Jason doesn't even know what a SoundCloud rapper is.
I'm also old. Sitting at the number 8 seed, I'm just going to scoot right past that. The New Orleans Pelicans. Does anyone have them making the playoffs?
Nope.
No, I don't.
This was hard.
No.
I don't think it was that hard for me.
I don't know.
Think it was. I guess it's all about if Utah just starts simmering out, but they're only 1 game back, game and a half, whatever. That's nothing. But
yeah, game and a half back at the Pelicans.
It just reverts back to pre-Boogie era. Now it's just Anthony Davis and a bunch of scrubs.
And it's fun to watch because Anthony Davis really takes it upon himself to do everything.
To drop over half the points each game.
But maybe if
lose.
Boogie doesn't come back next year, Anthony Davis goes kind of the whole maybe I should start thinking about leaving the Pelicans.
See, that wouldn't make me sad, and maybe it's just because the Pelicans is an awful team name.
They've just squandered 5 years of Anthony Davis. You don't deserve him at that point if you're not trying to surround. I mean, they tried to surround him with Boogie. No, it's not going to Boston. Boston eventually is going to run out of assets.
This guy said he doesn't, make hot takes, and all of a sudden,
he
bam,
goes
bam,
Anthony
bam.
Davis to Boston.
Giannis to LA.
How would that even happen?
All their assets.
So you trade Jason Tatum, Brown, and a first for Anthony Davis.
I mean, to make the cap work, you'd have to trade Horford.
So you trade Horford.
Okay, this is not
happening anymore.
This is not the time.
I love trading.
I have the Jazz at the 8th seed, taking it over. Like we said, home court advantage, 13 home games, only 3 back-to-backs. They play the abysmal Mavericks, who are, as a franchise right now, in serious trouble. I don't know if you guys saw the Sports Illustrated thing.
Yeah.
Ladies, don't work for the Mavericks because it's not a fun time. But yeah, I mean, it looks like they can get to this 8th seed. You guys both have them at the 7th seed.
Staying true to our comments from last week's pod.
Yeah. They need to be in the playoffs. I want them in the playoffs. I want to see Donovan Mitchell playing against either the Rockets or Warriors. They'll get spanked, but
Donovan Mitchell, my slam dunk champion.
All right, and we begin the second quarter, which is the Lucas list again. And my hot takes this week are a little, they're basketball worthy. They're a little different because we had the All-Star break. So, number 1 is going to be Fergie had the worst national anthem ever. It was really bad. I don't think there was much else to say other than it was kind of like a weird Marilyn Monroe, like super sexualized national anthem, and everyone was laughing at it, and people couldn't stop tweeting it, and it was really awkward. I remember watching it with my girlfriend, and it was really weird. It was the
Was
weirdest.
it weird how aroused you both got?
No, I did not get any sort of aroused by that.
I can
But,
top that. I watched it with my wife and my mother-in-law.
Yeah, I didn't like it, and then
Hashtag winning.
I did some research because I instantly said that, and I was like, okay, that's a cool hot take. Now let me do a little research. You know, there were some bad ones in history of national anthems. There was Roseanne Barr.
Whoa.
That was pretty
Let
bad.
me discuss Roseanne Barr, because
I didn't actually see it.
Yeah, because I brought her up. I was 4 years old when this happened in 1990. You guys were not even close to born.
Nope.
So, yes,
I was 4
Lucas,
years before being born.
you weren't even close on this hot take. Not even close, bud. Fergie's did not touch Roseanne Barr's. So, for our listeners who might be, Nick and Lucas's age, this was the year 1990. Flannels were hot, and Nirvana was hotter. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so it was before a San Diego Padres game. Roseanne sung the national anthem, if you could call it singing. It was loud, it was screechy, and at the end, she grabbed her crotch, spat on the field, boos are just raining down,
God.
and it was so awful that the Padres essentially immediately issued an apology.
Could you imagine if someone did that now?
They would never work again, probably.
It would
I
be
don't really know.
whatever happened to just sing the national anthem normally. You would be loved. Why is there so much? Let's put some kind of cool swing on the national anthem. Why does anybody ever get upset about that? Just sing it.
I saw someone tweeted, like, here's how you do the national anthem, and it was Jack Black who did it. And it was actually really good. He played an incredible national anthem before, like, a Sparks game.
That's cool.
You know, and it was like you could tell it was his voice because he does, Tenacious D or whatever. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like he did anything crazy. It was just kind of fun because when you do those gigantic parts,
He can really sing.
He can actually sing. So it was actually kind of fun. So like that is a way you can do it. I don't know. I guess I don't get the purpose other than people are like, oh, it's boring, and I'm like, I don't really care if it's boring.
She wanted to
Just get
take
it
a
done.
chance. She's so daring.
It was really sad because at the end she tweeted like, "I'm really sorry, everyone. I did my best." And I was like, "Well, now I'm sad, but also you didn't do your best because you could have just done it normal."
Right.
It's always my go-to. Just sing it normally, and I'll be happy because not many people are really paying attention that much, anyways.
True. The second hot take was JJ Redick didn't mean to say anything wrong. This was he made the NBA had a video. And it was supposed to celebrate Chinese New Year, and he ended up saying, or it ended up sounded like he said a racial slur.
The other C word.
The other C word. It really wasn't great. I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like he meant to say it, or even like even if it slipped out of his mouth, maybe it was just the way it sounded. I don't think he actually even said the word.
His story is that halfway through he didn't like what he was saying, so he just changed it up. So he stopped halfway through.
He would gain nothing from saying it, so I don't know why he.
Yeah,
would do
he
it.
doesn't seem like the guy who would just be.
Right,
I have a podcast. I'm an NBA player getting paid $20 million. Let's just say a racial slur for the fun of it.
We're all on board with this hot take. It wouldn't make any sense. He clearly has an eye for broadcasting or for doing something in the future. That's
Yeah.
why he's doing a podcast simultaneously.
Signed on with the Ringer, like,
Right. Yeah, he's a smart guy. This was an accident. I feel very, very strongly this was an accident.
Yeah,
Jeremy Lin cleared it up. We're okay now.
it's frustrating to me though.
I know.
I don't get why his voice is even needed. All it needed was like JJ Redick was like, "Whoa, I'm sorry, like that's not what it meant to be," and then the story's over.
I had mixed emotions about seeing. So one, I thought Jeremy Lin. I thought it was compassionate towards JJ Redick for him to come out and say something, and just kind of try and quelch the whatever. But I also kind of have a problem when anyone tries to almost say, I'm speaking for
That's
Chinese
exactly what he
people."
did.
And it's cool. It's cool, JJ Redick, on behalf of all Chinese. I'm Jewish, and trust me, I do not speak for all Jews.
I guess maybe
Lucas is a Suns fan. He doesn't speak for all Suns fans.
I mean, I think he does.
He wants to.
He wants to. I just think
it's his main goal. For
Jeremy Lin being one of the only Chinese people in the NBA, he wants there's 2 of them, 3 maybe players. There's the one.
He wants to be like a.
He's always at the center of these things too. He had the dreadlocks in the beginning of the year.
There's been so much controversy around Jeremy Lin and stuff, but all right. So the third hot take is the World versus USA game during the All-Star game was proof that AAU basketball has failed or is failing. And my hot take was World won by 21 points. Bogdan Bogdanovic won MVP with 29 points in 22 minutes. And then, if you look at the rosters, there was only one big man on USA's roster. And I think that was actually the biggest takeaway from, even if USA lost by 30, I think the biggest takeaway is US doesn't produce good big men. They only produce athletic wings.
So Kobe Bryant actually said that a few years back. Kobe has bashed AAU basketball. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of his arguments, and I think a lot of them came from a personal standpoint, where when he was playing with the Lakers and wasn't happy with their big men. But I thought it was interesting that he said that currently we have 108 international players from a record 42 countries that started on rosters in 2017-2018 season this year. 4th consecutive season, opening night rosters have featured at least 100 international players. I don't really know. I'm not buying this hot take because I don't think that it necessarily speaks to that. I don't think that necessarily this is proof that AAU is flawed. I think it's proof that the world has caught up to us to an extent, but only to an extent, because 6 of the last 7 Olympic gold medals are still USA.
Right.
I would say that if, AAU needs to teach fundamentals and kind of the skill set of the game a little more. They are focusing on athleticism.
It's flawed.
It's flawed for sure. And Kobe does, because he grew up in Italy when he was younger, he kind of has a sense of both of those. He has a
unique perspective.
Which, made him really great. But yeah,
Thanks, Lakers fan.
I just think the world has a better overall skill set that will make those players last longer in the NBA compared to some of these highly touted high school players. This guy's amazing. He's the best in the class, and all of a sudden they get the number 1 pick, and they're garbage.
But do you see this as proof that AAU is flawed?
No, not proof.
I see it as evidence that there may be an issue, but the AAU's biggest issue is the shadiness and the way that money is exchanged.
Right.
And to me, I think that's the bigger issue than how it's cultivating basketball talent.
I would say one thing right before we switch to the next topic. Like you said, the money and whatnot, I would feel that the European players are allowed to play in a professional setting younger, and they don't feel like they're going to be stars in the NBA. Whereas if you're playing in the AAU, you already think you're going to be the next LeBron James. That's all the media says about you. This high school player is the next LeBron, and then they get to the NBA and they get smoked. And these other guys I've been playing professionally for 5 years.
Yeah, they have way more experience for sure. My last hot take, which is more, current NBA season related, is the Wolves will not succeed in the playoffs unless Karl Anthony Towns is aggressive. The Wolves are 5-8 when Cat takes 10 or less shots. He's taken ridiculous amount of less shots than previous. The last year he averaged 18 a game. Now he's averaging 12. The team is playing better, but they don't play well when he's not aggressive. He needs to kick it up.
And maybe he will in the playoffs. Maybe he's just, like we've said, holding himself together, not overextending himself. They pretty much are almost, in our minds, guaranteed the 3rd seed. And Jimmy Butler's playing out of his mind right now. He rested the All-Star game. I agree. He needs to put up 5 more shots a game at least.
You just agreed with one of my hot takes.
I know.
I think that's the first.
I need a drink to that.
I disagree.
No. I wanted to sweep.
No, I'm going to keep the trend going with disagreement. So Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, with a K, was just named the 5th best player in the NBA so far this year by Bleacher Report, based on their metrics.
Ugh.
I know, it was a pretty flawed list, to be totally honest.
It's gross.
But I think it speaks to how well he's playing. Obviously it does. I think the bigger issue for them to advance in the playoffs and for them to have success in the playoffs is Wiggins, to tell you the truth. I don't mind Cat. I would like to see him be more aggressive, but I think they can advance and succeed even if he's not, because he's so damn efficient and he's doing so many things right. I think Wiggins playing better is more important. Wiggins is averaging 2 less points per game than his career average while shooting a worse percentage and averaging less assists per game right now. To me, that is the key. If Wiggins can become what Wiggins kind of has been, then I think the trio of Wiggins, Butler, and Cat can do some real damage in the playoffs. To me, without that, not happening.
Yeah, I agree.
100% agree.
Welcome to the third quarter. This week we do not have garbage time, but instead we have an interview.
Chris Kline, editor for Fansided 76ers website, the Sixersense.com, and an ESPN contributor for Sacramento Kings True Hoop Network. Thanks a lot for being with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on.
I used to be a contributor for Fansided. How do you like how to write the articles, like the whole editing page behind the scene? That was always so clunky for me. I could never get it to ever actually work. And then it felt like there was so much like little politics behind the website at times. Like you couldn't get stuff out and most of it had to be positive, or maybe that was just on the Phoenix Sun side.
Yeah, I haven't really had any problems with politics. There's a lot of stuff that goes into kind of polishing up each article in terms of getting it ready for SEO, search engine optimization and stuff like that. But we've had articles kind of all over the place at Sixersense, positive, negative. We've called out the GM several times, Brian Colangelo, on multiple occasions. We've had good stuff about Fultz, bad stuff about Fultz. So we've kind of been all over the place there. We've been pretty loose with the kind of stuff we publish, and we kind of have a wide range of opinions that go onto the site.
Nice. While we're on the Fultz topic, why don't you break down where you think he is in terms of recovery and maybe just where things stand with Markelle Fultz and the team right now?
Yeah. So I'm obviously not in the locker room. I don't know for sure, but I would bet against him returning this year. It just doesn't seem like that's a likely occurrence at this point. From all the reports that have come out recently, it sounds like him and his trainer, Keith Williams, started making changes to his shot before the draft. That kind of snowballed between summer league and training camp, which is when we started really seeing his shot go downhill. Some of his videos have been looking better as of late, but I don't think he's going to return this year. So I would think they're probably aiming for a return next season.
Do you think, so it was discussed on the podcast of potentially trading Fultz as being a thing to happen at the deadline. Would you have traded Fultz for like Kemba Walker straight up, or like CJ McCollum, or a combo guard like that?
I mean, I would think that would be a tempting trade, and I can obviously see the thinking behind it. But I still think Fultz is talented enough to where he can get his jump shot back and he can still become a really good player. He was the consensus number one prospect for a reason, I think.
Yeah.
So I would hold on to him for a bit longer just to kind of ride it out.
And now I know you're not originally from Philly because you're way too optimistic.
How do you feel about the Sixers going into the playoffs? Do you think they can get up to a higher seed?
Yeah, I think they're 2 games behind Washington for the 4th seed right now.
Yeah.
They've won 5 straight going into the All-Star break, so they obviously have some momentum. Like, we've seen them kind of go on and off all season. They've had some pretty big slumps, pretty big hot streaks. So, I'm not that confident that they're going to keep winning like this for the rest of the year. They're a pretty inconsistent group. But I think there's a good chance that they can probably move up from 7th. I think that's possible, and I think they're good enough to give one of those higher seeds some trouble, even if they aren't going to win necessarily their first round series. But I think they're good enough to give some guys some trouble.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think Embiid can be a huge matchup for almost any of those teams in the playoffs, especially the Wizards. I mean, he's just going to kill Gortat.
Yeah, I would be pretty optimistic about a Wizards series more than anything else, honestly.
So as we mentioned, we know you're also connected with the Sacramento Kings. Would you see the process as exemplified by the Sixers as the best method to rebuild for Sacramento, or how does Sacramento find prosperity again?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Sacramento is they're not going to attract any big name free agents anytime soon. You know, their front office isn't exactly known as one of the best around the league at this point. So their best path towards getting top talent is going to be through the draft. They don't have their pick next year, but they do have a chance at getting a really solid prospect this year. The top 6 or 7 in this year's class is really good. So they're going to get someone like a Luka Doncic, a DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley, someone like that, I think that would put them kind of on the right path, because they have some good pieces right now, but they don't really have someone they can build around. So I think the draft is their best bet at getting that kind of player.
So you don't think that there are any kind of core nucleus pieces in place right now?
I think Bogdanovich, Hield, and Fox are all really, really solid players. And I think they're keepers. I think they're guys who can contribute for a winning team long term. But I don't think they're like the main guy that you build around right now.
What do you see as like a Fox's peak? Do you see him as like a fringe all-star, an all-star? Can he be in like... Can he be a top 5 point guard in the league one day?
I don't think he'll be top 5, but I was pretty low on Fox. I had him, I think, 12th entering the draft, so I was a lot lower than the consensus. And he's obviously proven me, I think, wrong quite a bit this year. He's improving his jumper, and he looks really solid. So I think fringe all-star is probably where I would set his peak, especially if he doesn't become a knockdown shooter. But he's obviously a great athlete. He's going to be a solid defender long term. So I think he's somebody who I think the Kings got a good deal at 5.
Did you view the Bellinelli signing as significant?
Yeah, definitely. The Sixers' biggest problem all year has been bench depth, and now they produce when Embiid and Simmons sit. And part of that was they didn't have any reliable shooters. Jared Bayless has been pretty bad all year.
I was just going to say, how do you feel about Jared Bayless?
Bayless has been really, really bad. So I don't think he's in the regular rotation anytime soon. But yeah, I think Bellinelli, I think he's kind of that bench scorer guy who can kind of help carry the offense some when Embiid and Simmons sit. Another guy who can shoot, come around screens, keep the ball moving, keep moving off the ball. I really like that acquisition.
In free agency, you guys are going to have so much cap space. It's going to be absurd. Who do you think is like the number one free agent the Sixers should go after?
I don't necessarily think they're going to be able to attract a big name guy this upcoming season. 2019 might be the best year for that. Paul George would obviously be ideal, but I don't think he's in any way, shape, or form connected to Philly at this point. Yeah. LeBron's not coming to Philly as much as we would love for that to happen, I'm sure. I highly doubt LeBron is, going to be a Sixer next year. So maybe just some, kind of like what they did this year, sign some veterans on one-year deals, maybe bring Redick back, because I think he's a really underrated part of this offense at this point, and just kind of keep building around their current nucleus until 2019, 2020, maybe when some other stars are available and they're in a better position to compete immediately.
Go for Clay.
Go for Klay Thompson. Yeah. Do you think if LeBron came to the Sixers, do you think it would stun Simmons' development at all? Because Simmons can't really shoot. He really has to have the ball in his hands at all times, and that's kind of LeBron's role right now.
I mean, I think Simmons would still be a really good player next to LeBron. We've seen him do some good stuff off the ball as a cutter. we've seen some of the Sixers' best lineups are with T.J. McConnell in the game handling the ball, and Simmons playing more of a playmaking power forward role. So I think, eventually they'd figure it out, and that Simmons would still be a really solid player with LeBron. You'd obviously have to put 2 other shooters around them and Embiid.
Yeah.
So it would take some adjustment, but I don't think LeBron would stunt Simmons' growth. If anything, he'd show Simmons some new things. So I think it'd be a positive, if anything.
That would be so cool to see, though, LeBron, Simmons, and Embiid on the floor together. I don't think an Eastern Conference team, the Celtics are coming up, but nah.
No one has the height to body that. They're just too big of people.
Yeah.
Not going to happen, but it would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
All right, well, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us here at the Sip and Swish podcast. We'd love to have you back, maybe around draft time, if you'd be so willing.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to come back on. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely, man. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for your time.
All right. Welcome to everybody's favorite fourth quarter. Last week was a bit of a bamboozle because there was no really good game, so we did the All-Star. And I went 0-5. Jason, I believe, got 2 right.
Yep, 2 and 3.
Lucas got 2 right.
Mm-hmm. In fairness, we're picking events that have like 8 participants. Some of them, at least, have like 8 participants. So going 2 and 3 like Lucas and I did, not bad. I mean, 0-5, despicable, obviously.
It was awful. You know what? I was a little on the buzz side for those picks, and I was feeling happy. And now so we're gonna do our shots next Tuesday. We figured for everybody's well-being, we won't take as many shots today. So I'll just drink a 7% beer while we do this. All right, we're gonna get back into games. I'm so excited. It's been way too long since I've watched a basketball game, and the All-Star game doesn't count. Nope. It's not a real game.
Nope.
We're starting off hot. All these are going to be playoff games. It's beautiful. Washington. Yeah, it is. Washington versus Cleveland. The Cavs are favored 58%. Who wants to start this fourth quarter off?
I will. I'd love to. Cavs, baby. Come on.
Baby.
Come on,
The
Cavs,
land.
baby. Yep. Wizards are due to... I don't know. They're due to do what the Wizards are going to do.
Just fall apart.
You said it.
Just absolutely fall apart. Yeah, I need my record overall to get up.
To be a positive.
Yeah, I need a even record. So I'm going to go with the BPI, and I'm going to go with Cavs.
Well, you know what? You guys are lame. Going with Beal. There's no one else on the team. It's
just Bradley Beal.
We used to talk so much shit on Bradley Beal until Wall got injured, and then we all were like, "I'm kind of sorry, Bradley Beal. I feel bad about the things I said because you're good. You're good."
He's saved me a couple of times this year now, and
I know, it's bullcrap.
I love it. Okay, so we're going with Friday night, Boston versus Detroit. This is Boston's struggling right now with their offense. Detroit is looking okay. They're going to figure out the kinks that they got going on with their 2 big men, but I mean, Celtics favored 54%.
It's in Boston?
It's not in Boston.
Okay.
It's in Detroit. It's in the D.
I'll take...
That's not how you say that.
No, that's the wrong phrasing. I'll take the Pistons.
Ooh, okay.
I wrote down the Pistons, too. I think All-Star break, they probably got their rotations solidified and everything's going to gel better.
The timing of the break was as good for them as it was for any team.
I think so too, because they started off super hot and then they started to slip and rotations kind of got out of whack. Like Stan Van Gundy started changing a few things, and I think as soon as Stan Van Gundy starts overthinking himself, I think that's when the team falls apart. And All-Star break was a perfect time for him to be like, okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath. Blake Griffin's still our guy. Drummond is probably the best rebounder of all time. We're gonna just go.
Ooh, hot take right there.
No kidding.
You know what?
He's averaging like 17 rebounds.
Yeah. I'm taking Boston because apparently I'm going against you guys all week again to make this fun.
I'm okay because I just want your record to plummet.
See, I have a positive record. I know you're all the way down there.
I really don't know how. Some of your picks are just terrible.
And they
Yet
work. Effective. Yep. So, Boston, like we said, you guys were saying for Detroit, they got the weekend. They got a week to think about everything going on. Celtics will be rested. Maybe they can put their offense, together a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Saturday night game, though, I'm excited. Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Golden State Warriors.
I'm moderately excited for this one. Of course I'm hyped, man. Of course. We have Westbrook versus Durant.
These games are so flip-flop where one team will blow the other one out or just – it's fun. It's just a great time. Golden State's favored, 76%.
I'm taking OKC.
Oh, wow. Surprise right there.
Hey, sometimes I go against my teams just because I hate to lose twice.
I think I'm going OKC too.
What?
Just because
You guys are lame.
lame. That's the underdog, man. But
And in fairness, Lucas has his picks written down. It's not like he's changing them, like jumping on my coattails, which would be smart because I'm really good at this.
apparently you're better than me by a lot. But I don't know. What are they, 1-1? The series is split.
I believe so, yeah.
I think so.
Every single one of these games has been so great. And I don't even think the Warriors are great. It's like, no, this is all emotion. There's nothing statistic about this game that will make sense. It's just emotion. Westbrook might punch out Draymond halfway through this game.
That'd be
Lord
great.
willing.
That's a thing that could happen. That's why I'm picking OKC. They have way more emotion.
See, the punch-out thing, NBA players don't fight. They just kind of
Yeah, but
look at each
Westbrook-
other. They're all show. They're all show.
Westbrook could kill someone.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Westbrook dance fight someone. I feel like he'd be an excellent dance
They
fighter.
just start break dancing in the middle of the game.
Westbrook will stick to his fashion line that he's, always on. Sunday night, though, another playoff game. Who would have
Who'd you
thought?
pick?
Who are you taking?
Oh, I pick Golden State. I'm a smart man.
Didn't say it.
I'm sorry.
Not that smart.
Not that smart. It was just implied that if you two pick the same team, I have to go against you.
More intelligent than eloquent.
Okay, Sunday. Houston versus Denver. Houston's favorite, 62% in the Mile High City. I mean, this should be a fun game.
I would love to go and do some sort of history lesson on what the home record is for the Nuggets in that stadium. I really think there's a home field advantage in Denver.
100% is.
Right, but I mean,
Walk
I
around in
want to know
Denver,
what
I'm
I want to
tired.
know how significant.
Breaking
it
news
is.
by Lucas McLean.
But I want to know how significant. Is it a 10% home field advantage? Is it I really want to
And
know.
also, can we start referring to his home court, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Football season.
It's over.
I'm picking the Nuggets. No, I wrote Rockets. I'm picking the Rockets.
What are
I was
you
just talking
picking?
about the Nuggets.
What are you picking?
I'm picking the Rockets.
Rockets?
Yeah. I'm picking the Rockets.
I'm taking the Rockets as well. I believe in the Nuggets, as you heard about in the first quarter. I don't know. The Rockets are too good, though.
Well, I'm taking the Nuggets.
Wow.
You know what? I'm making it
You
fun.
are allowed to pick the same teams we do.
I am.
It is a part of the game.
This is going to be an amazing week. I'm super excited right
I'm
now.
going to be rooting against you guys all week.
The problem is I know the next game you're about to say, we have the same pick.
I don't know if we
All
do.
right. What's the next game?
Tuesday night. It's the day we'll be taking our shots together. Happens to be a day we all have off from work. Sip and swish appreciation. Someone said. Washington versus Milwaukee. 55% in favor of the Bucks at home. So that's, like we know by the BPI, absolutely nothing.
I have a bad feeling it's just going to be consensus on this one.
I
Bucks.
swear to God.
It's going to be a consensus.
I swear to God you're going to do this. I'm picking the Bucks.
I'm picking the Milwaukee Bucks.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. I was like, you cannot pick the Wizards 2 times in one podcast. That might actually flip the whole thing, and they might lose both.
I might flip the table.
We're done. No, yeah, I like it. I'm excited for this week. We're back to basketball. I get done work,
Thank
and
God.
all I want to do is watch highlights, watch the game, do something. I've gotten home the last week, and I just go, I guess I can prepare for the podcast. There's nothing to prepare.
Right, I better do some research.
Good one.
Today sucks. I mean, I have the day off and I can't even watch a game. It's the worst. Absolute worst.
I do think the NBA could get back to basketball a little quicker.
I think so too. I don't think they really need this whole week. It's not necessary at all.
But yeah, interesting fourth quarter picks. Lucas and I aligned on every single one of them.
Is that good for you though?
No, it's terrifying, obviously.
Thanks for listening to the Sip and Swish podcast. We have our next interview coming up next week with a member of the Chicago Bulls fan-sided page. Great guy. We are on Twitter at Sip and Swish, Facebook Sip and Swish NBA. You can find our website at thesipandswish.com. Check us out. We're going to do a t-shirt giveaway this week. So share, and follow our Facebook or Twitter. Make sure you download it. The downloads really help us, and that'd be fantastic. We'll see you next week on our podcast.